living in the same world, and birds are amazing at telling us what's happening in that world. And so if we understand certain bird populations are doing poorly or well, that means something about the world and what we may or may not be contributing to that.
Climate change is huge. The severe weather that we're experiencing both during migration and during the breeding season have affected populations. And then also just land use changes. We have taken away and degraded a lot of habitats. Overall, the birds aren't doing great. It's definitely a signal from the environment saying, like, let's do better. Look.
We're not just studying birds because we like birds. We're studying birds to try to help people understand about impacts and about how the things that you do on the landscape have consequences, not just to people, but to other wildlife.
We can really use that information to try and inform habitat restoration efforts, long-term conservation plans, also different kinds of management.
We have over 30 years of monitoring data, which can provide some information about what the habitats are like, whether they're degraded based on the types of birds that we see in these areas.
If we really want to think about a sustainable economy, sustainable communities, and sustainable environment, we really have to be focusing on how are we managing our natural resources over time. And the only way to do that effectively is that adaptive management cycle so that we're getting that good science, which is real information.
This area is experiencing some of the effects of climate change already. We're seeing certain tree species, certain vegetation, certain communities of wildlife, and bird communities and bird species that are receding north as the habitat or the climate is no longer suitable for them.
In the last couple of years, we've kind of focused more on a couple of species that are in conservation need. Most notably, the Connecticut warbler has declined in Minnesota within our national forest by over 90% in the last 30 years.
Conventional forestry techniques, harvesting techniques, is usually just clear cut, leave a few residual trees. We're suggesting change in how some cuts are done, where the species can continue to thrive in the area without completely eliminating them.
The St. Louis River Estuary is globally recognized as a really important both migration corridor for a lot of different birds and also for a lot of breeding birds as well. Historically, it's been really developed in terms of shipping and all of the industries that used to be really key and foundational to Minnesota in the early 1900s.
This is a site that has recently been restored. To delist it, they're actively doing a lot of restoration and remediation to remove legacy contaminant issues, coarse woody debris, re-establishing native habitat, and opening up the marsh to be more like it used to be.
We really rely on them to bring the science into us, and then we take that and we do the real estate. We do the construction contracting for restoration. We apply it on the ground.
All of our research is really driven with like an end product in mind that we can take out to people that are making laws or managing land, so they can take what we learn and implement it.
I would love to retire in 20 years and say, oh my gosh, these bird populations that we've studied for so long are increasing, but also here's this toolkit to help do conservation more effectively into the future.